You are listening to the Serra High School Podcast, your connection to the scholars, the athletes, the men of faith, the men of humility, the Serra Padres. Hello and welcome to the Serra High School Podcast. My name is Amy Strain. I'm Serra's Director of Marketing and Communication, and I'm joined here today with Mike Fadelli, Serra's Chief Advancement Officer.
Glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad you're here too. This is just one episode in a series of episodes that we're going to highlight all the happenings at Serra High School, from our halls to our classrooms, on our fields, and our auditorium. We hope to spotlight all the exciting things going on, and we are happy to have all the department heads come through and kind of tell us what they're all about, what brought them here, and we're going to start with you.
Well, I'm happy to tell the story. I love being here, so Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for being here. I know you graduated here in 1988, and I would love to hear a little bit about your experiences here.
Yeah, Serra is so meaningful to me. A lot of the values I take forward today in my life were things that I learned here back in the late 80s. I'd like to say a very, very long time ago. But, it's just an experience that I'll never forget. Friends that I have that are today my best friends, guys that were in my wedding. You talk about the brotherhood, and, I know we talk a lot about it now, but, it existed back then. And just to be, in the same brotherhood with all these Padres that graduated before me and after, it's such a special place to be, and it continues to go forward. So I'm really happy to be a Padre.
Nice. Well, before I ask you exactly what you did here, I would like to know, I know that you come from a long line of Padres, both your family members and also your sons. So can you just kind of give us a brief synopsis of that?
Yeah. So family-wise, I was the fourth child of the Fadellis. I have three older sisters, one that's 19 years older than me, one that's 18 years older than me, and one that's 10 years older than me. So my dad got his boy, and, as soon as I was...
Several decades.
Yeah, as soon as I was born, I think I grew up on this campus. My middle sister, Barbara, was dating Ron Hool, whose father, Ken Hool, was the business manager here, who was a longtime baseball coach and athletic director. In fact, the athletic complex is named after Ken Hool. So, they were married when I was 3 years old, and there's a picture of me in my little red sport coat pointing up at one of the groomsmen, who happened to be Lynn Swan, who was a classmate of my brother-in-law. So
that's so cool.
Again, Serra was a part of my life, and we'd come here and we'd swim and we'd do different things. And then, you get to middle school, and I'm an eighth grader. I'm getting ready to go to Serra, and my sister, who's 10 years older than me, starts dating a teacher and football coach here at Serra. They got married in between my eighth grade and freshman year. So my brother-in-law was a teacher and my football coach when I was here. So
oh my gosh,
it's a family thing. And then, obviously my experience is here. And then my son, Matthew, who graduated last year. And then Andrew, who's a current freshman. So it keeps going and going and going. And I hope someday my boys, if they have boys, will be able to send their kid to Serra High School as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. So that's a pretty good family line. What sports clubs, extracurriculars were you involved with?
I tried to do a lot. And that's why when I talk to boys today, I tell them to experience, everything. I think they have so much more than we did back in the day. I was a baseball player. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I wanted to follow in the footsteps of all the Padres before me. I grew up going to games and watching these guys play. And, I'll never forget being a freshman when Serra lost to Bellarmine in the CCS championship game. And I said, I want to be on that stage, and I want to be the person that can, hopefully win Serra a CCS championship. So baseball was my sport. I played football, basketball, and baseball my first 2 years. And then I focused on football and baseball my last 2 years, because baseball was really my way to hopefully a college scholarship and be able to, pursue my dream of a Major League Baseball player. So, but I loved football. Football was my favorite sport, just because I could just go out there and play and not be worried. And I think that's why I have such a love for football today. It really is my favorite sport right now.
Very cool. Yeah. And so I guess, for those that love sports, what positions did you play in football and baseball? I
was a linebacker and a center my freshman year, and then I became a tight end my junior and senior year, and an H-back, which I don't even know what that H-back does. I held on kicks. We ran some special team gadgets where I would catch the ball on a snap, and we'd have a guy come in motion, and I'd snap the ball. We ran an fake option punt which worked to perfection against Mitty my senior year when we won our last game of the year. So I had a lot of fun. And then baseball-wise, I was a first baseman. I was left-handed, but I could play the outfield, and so I did that, here my junior year, played mostly first base my senior year, and then was a guy in college who played outfield and a little bit of first base. So
very cool.
Yeah.
The position tells a lot about a person, right? So I had to just bring that in there. But very cool. So what can you tell me about, so you ended up going and playing baseball in college, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your career and kind of what brought you back to Serra?
Yeah. Went off to UC Santa Barbara as a freshman, got 13 at-bats as a freshman, and just decided that wasn't necessarily the place for me. So I came back and went to College of San Mateo, played for legendary coach John Nochi. Had a great year there, and then decided that I wanted to stay somewhat close to home. And a bunch of guys that I had known had gone to Sacramento State. They had just gone Division I and had an opportunity to go play there, talk to the coach. He said, yeah, come on. We're always looking for good players. And, I don't have a lot of depth at first base. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go up there. And I'll never forget, I was in class, and I was talking to another guy, and we were talking baseball, and he happened to be a recruit. And he said, are you a baseball player? I said, yeah. And he goes, are you the freshman transfer All-American first baseman from Tennessee? And I said, no, that's not me. So,
should have said yes.
Had to deal with a little bit of adversity, when I got there. But again, being versatile and being able to do other things, I ended up starting as the left fielder my junior year, and then I was the right fielder my senior year. So it all worked out, and then got done with college and came back and really wanted to be in the sports industry in some way, shape, or form. And, you got to find a way to get your foot in the door. And there was a job opportunity for a company called Sports Byline USA. I was a KMBR guy, and I was like, I didn't even know there was another sports, radio station out there. But I took the job, and they were nationwide. So I was trying to sell commercial airtime to businesses. And it was just like I kept running up against a wall because you combined all their affiliates, and they still didn't have the reach of a station like KMBR's. But I put my head down. I did what I needed to do. Some people took notice of that. They offered me a job with a different company. And then ultimately I got an opportunity to go to KMBR in 2000. And as I tell people, it was like, that's my call to the big leagues. I got my opportunity. And then I spent 20 years in the media industry after that, doing various things, going from an account executive up to a vice president of sales before I came to Serra.
Very cool. And tell us how the Serra opportunity was presented to you, and what made you decide to come back.
Well, it's another great story. It was during my son Matthew's freshman year. It was just so great as a parent to come back and be involved. And so I was a member of the Fathers Club, and whenever I got the opportunity to do anything at Serra, as a dad, I wanted to do that, support the football team and different things. And so my nephew, Chris Hool, who's a teacher here, he's also the varsity baseball coach. I came out for a Fathers Club meeting. They happened to be playing, and I was walking back, and the president at the time, Lars Lund, I ran into him, and he and I have been good friends for a long time. And I said to him, hey, I've got some ideas on how to raise money for the baseball program. Well, little did I know that, a couple weeks later, he'd reach out to me and say, hey, I've got this opportunity as the advancement director at Serra High School. And at first I was like, well, what does an advancement director do? And so we talked, and, the more I thought about it, the more I thought this is the perfect opportunity for me. I love this school, and basically this would be, my life fulfilling job if I had an opportunity to do this. So one thing led to another, and I accepted the role 4 years ago, and it's been the greatest job in the world because I get to talk about Serra High School every day.
It's great.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about just what your day-to-day responsibilities are and kind of what you do?
Sure. So I have a team, a group of people in the advancement department. We work with alumni. We work with current parents. We work with alumni parents. We work with foundations, and basically what we do is we are trying to raise money for different things here at Serra High School. So we've got endowments, we've got our Padre Fund, we've got events such as Fund a Dream where we're raising money for tuition assistance. We're really working for the betterment of Serra High School so that we can make improvements. Over the last couple of years, we've done some projects here at school. Where we've been able to use money and raise money to put a robotics lab in place here, to make the necessary changes with 4 classroom upgrades. And there's a lot more that we have planned to do moving forward. So like I said, every day I get to come in, I get to talk about all the great things that are happening here at Serra High School. And and really being around the kids, it energizes you in a way that, when you're out there talking to people about these opportunities, you just share the stories and people get really excited about what Serra's all about. So it's really an easy, I tell people I don't have to sell because I just get to talk about Serra High School all the time.
And something that you know so well. So
Absolutely.
I'm sure that it's an easy conversation. In terms of you mentioned the Padre Fund. I mean, there's all these different ways to give. I know we've got an extremely, extremely generous alumni community. I know that we, do rely on funds to pay for the things that the general fund doesn't pay for. So
Sure.
Can you just kind of break down like the Padre Fund? And I mean, we didn't mention Thanksgiving Day, but our one day of giving.
Yeah.
Just a quick overview.
Yeah, so the Padre Fund is really our lifeblood of giving here at Serra High School. It's unrestricted dollars. So what we ask our parents and alumni is to make a gift to the Padre Fund where we can use it for the things that we feel we need to do here at Serra High School. Thanksgiving Day, which is something that we created once I got here, is a 24-hour day of giving. It's really our fall appeal to alumni. And it gives them an opportunity to get excited, get class challenges put together, and just kind of see the power of a school with 13,000 alumni and get them together for a 24-hour period. And this is our fourth year. I think we had a goal of $100,000 our first year, which we met. We raised it to 150. We raised it to 200. This past year, we did $270,000. That all goes towards the Padre Fund, unrestricted dollars. But, that's just one thing that we do. I mentioned Fund a Dream, and we can talk about that, in a little bit. But that's an opportunity for people to help with tuition assistance because 42% of our students here rely on some form of assistance to be able to attend Serra High School. And it's really important that we have those dollars for those deserving Padres who want to be Serra Padres moving forward.
Very cool, very cool. And so that's wonderful. And I mean, our parent community has been amazing. I mean, I think that, they continue to not only, contribute, monetarily, but also participation wise, our percentages are amazing. I mean, it's like almost, we try to get to 100% and your team does a great job in achieving that.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a really special team. The Padre Fund's led by Lisa Callaghy, who her husband is a graduate of Serra High School, Mike.
And county manager. Her two boys went to school here. She's got a nephew that's here. She does a really good job of explaining the importance of the Padre Fund. And, we had to kind of reinvent what the Padre Fund was all about just so people could understand, because there are a lot of times when people are asked to give and it can be confusing. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried to create a roadmap for people to understand, the importance of giving and where they can give, because there are so many different ways that people can give. But our parent community has stepped up in such a big way. Our alumni community has been great, but, with 13,000 alum, we don't always have the same connection with them, sure.
After a few years. So we've really made a concerted effort to get the alumni community back here in different ways, to be re-engaged. And then I'll say the biggest factor in all of this has been the marketing that we've been able to do to share the successes that we've had on campus here over the last few years. And people have certainly taken notice. And you put together Traditions. It's a wonderful magazine. It highlights all the things that are happening here and the things that we have going on. And I can't tell you how many alumni reach out and say, thank you. This is so great. I feel like we're back involved in Serra High School. And, that's made a real difference.
That's great. Wonderful. And we should also mention that you do have a new alumni director, Logan Walsh, class of 2014.
2014,
yes.
yeah.
And he's making some huge strides in trying to connect, some of the alums that haven't, been as connected and some of the younger alumni who are graduating and, out starting their careers doing amazing things. So it'll be great to have that, it's kind of it's like re-energizing that connection. So.
Yeah, Logan's fantastic. Logan worked for a company called E-Team Sponsor that had done some stuff with our teams. And, he'd always reach out to me. He'd always tell me he was coming on campus and the reason why he was coming on campus. And when the alumni position became available, he was somebody in the back of my mind that I thought, he'd be really good at this. He loved Serra High School. He was a very successful soccer player here. He just had that affinity. And so when the position came open, we talked about it. And then he put together a presentation for myself and Dr. Thornton that just blew us away in regards to, the thoughtfulness and the plan and really the opportunity to engage alumni in different ways. We're used to, with some of our older alumni, engaging them through mailings and different things. He brought in social media and different ways to be able to connect with alumni and really connect with them from the time that they leave school after their senior year through the college years by utilizing internships and job opportunities and things like that, and keeping them connected so that when they get out into the job force, that they can look back at what they received from Serra High School. Besides the education, it's the things that they received after that are important, and Logan's done a really good job of that so far.
That's great. He's got extreme energy, and he is he's so enthusiastic, and that's really what you need in that position too.
Absolutely.
Because he's so eager to make those career connections, and being a young alum himself, just realizing the need to provide our graduates with those connections that we hear these stories all the time. I'm on vacation in Hawaii and I see a guy with the Serra shirt. And, I mean, it's almost like a college. I mean, it's really a proud affiliation, and to be able to offer some extra career support and some connections like that. That's really a great thing for him to offer.
Yeah, I mean, great example. He's been on the job for, let's just say, a month. I mean, he came on right after Thanksgiving, so the whole month of December was just kind of learning the ropes. But, he hit the ground running in January. He connected with a current alum who's at UC Berkeley. He's working in the field with
solar vehicles.
Solar vehicles, thank you very much. And he had read Traditions, and there was an article from another alum that we had featured that was working in the solar vehicle industry, and Logan was able to connect the two.
That's so great.
I mean, those are such powerful connections, and it's really great to see that Logan, could put one and one together, and I think he's going to do a really great job moving forward.
Awesome, and I hope that we'll actually have him out on this podcast at
Absolutely.
some point. And kind of everyone will get a chance to hear him in his exciting mannerisms. Wonderful. Well, let's just go right into Fund a Dream. Let's talk about that's on March 12th, 2022. Hoping that we have both a virtual and a live program. Why don't you tell us about our exciting speakers? I think that we also mentioned it on our football podcast already, because one of our headliners is obviously Patrick Walsh, who is going to introduce Father Joe Bradley. So why don't you talk a little bit about the theme, the faith in the future?
Yeah, just super excited. Speaker-wise, Father Joe, someone that has, meant so much to so many people here at Serra High School. And, I've known Father Joe for a long time, him being an alumnus and, having him celebrate masses. And, we've just gotten to know each other. But really having a son and having a current son who plays football and is involved in the football program, he's just amazing. And we talked about this. He was actually our speaker that we had lined up for 2020, and we were a week away from Fund a Dream, and we had to cancel the event and move it virtually. And so, we want to make sure that Father Joe can be featured, and we're super excited to have him. I know he's super excited. He's been working on his speech, and
2 years.
Yeah, and he keeps calling me and he keeps adding things. And I said, Father Joe, it's your stage. You can talk about whatever you want. But a big important part of that is faith, obviously. And when we think about faith in the future, faith takes on many different forms. And, when I think about that, you got to have faith, especially during the times that we're in right now, that things are going to get better. And then I think the message that Father Joe and Patrick and the football program and other programs here at Serra, create is one that, you got to have that faith that things are going to be good, that the future is bright for you. So when we talked about theme, faith in the future, I mean, it makes sense in so many different ways. We're excited that Patrick, because of that relationship that he has with Father Joe, is going to be able to introduce him. And spoiler alert, we'll probably have a few guest appearances from some notable alumni who would want to be a part of this as well.
That's great. Wonderful. Well, we should just mention Father Joe Bradley is class of 73.
Correct.
He has been, he was the St. Sarah Award winner. Mm-hmm. He was president at one time. Is that right?
That's correct.
He also has been the main chaplain and the football chaplain.
Correct.
So he's been around forever. And his story, he wrote a book called The Four Gifts. And, he talks about some, overcoming extreme circumstances, and it's a fabulous book and,
right.
and a wonderful story. And I'm sure he'll touch on that when he speaks. It's extremely moving, and I think that there's no better speaker especially during this time, to come on and enlighten the whole crowd. And And I agree with the faith in the future. I think that, this is all for tuition assistance. It's 100% of the money raised on March 12th will go straight to benefit any young Padre who's qualified and wants to be a member of this wonderful, wonderful crew over here. So
yeah, that's really important. I mean, it's not easy to attend Serra High School. We understand that. And we want to give every Padre who deserves an opportunity to be a Padre a chance. And so that's what makes this event, so special. I like to say it's one of the most critical events that we have here at Serra High School. And that percentage grows a little bit every year. And so to be able to have the money to be able to, give to as many students who need tuition assistance as possible is really, really critical and important here at Serra High School, and something that we're going to continue to do and continue to grow moving forward.
I love that you said the future is bright, because it's very bright right now, by the way, as I squint over here. But I did want to just kind of go back to something you said. You said 42% of our student body is receiving some sort of aid. Mm-hmm. And I think that is such an important number to highlight. That's nearly half of the students at Serra. So it's just wonderful that this school sees that need. And right. I mean, and that, we won't allow money to deter your ability to get here. That's huge.
Right. And if you look back, I mean, we're talking about our 18th year of Funded Dream. Tuition assistance goes back much longer than that.
Of course.
And I can, I think about those students that received tuition assistance back in the day that are doing wonderful things. And without that opportunity, without that chance to attend Serra, who knows? Mm-hmm. Because they learned so much here, and they know that, they can look forward to a bright future and because of what Serra has given them. So, to me, it's looking at those students. First of all, the students that we have here that are receiving tuition assistance are super grateful for that opportunity. But the ones that have gone through Serra and gone on, they've done some wonderful things. And that's the most exciting part for me, is that, we have a whole group of students here at Serra, and we'll have students to come, seeing what they're doing in the future and how they make a difference in the world. Yeah. Because the ones that have received tuition assistance already have really done a good job of making a difference in the world.
That's wonderful. Well, I applaud your efforts. I think that last year's event was virtual. We had to go virtual. I believe that you were the host.
I was the host.
A very good host.
I saw that my blue jacket is hanging outside the theater now, the blue sequin jacket that I wore for one of the scenes. Yeah, absolutely. It's out there.
I was going to say, I think that it speaks volumes that we held a virtual event, which, I mean, nobody picked up, their dinners or anything. I mean, this is just a virtual event, and it raised $750,000. So now in our 18th year, we're at $6 million nearly. Yeah. And we hope to, leap even higher, right?
Yeah. Again, I think what's really important is you tell the story, and we've done a really good job, and you and your department have done a fantastic job of telling the story of what Funded Dream is all about. And so, I, as a parent, take my chief advancement officer hat off, but as a parent, this is important to me. I want to see, the boys that are my son's friends that wouldn't be able to attend Serra be here, because, the experiences that my boys have had with these students that are receiving tuition assistance, and if that wasn't the case, so it holds a special place in my heart, and I think it does for a lot of people here at Serra High School, because especially parents, their sons are the ones whose friends and boys are the ones who are experiencing what this great program is all about. So.
Yes, very much. Well, I think, and I just to dovetail, I think that one of the most important things as a school here in San Mateo County and near the Silicon Valley is to not everybody has $25,000 a year to just write for your son to go to high school. But it's important that we still accept anybody who is qualified and ready and able and willing, because our school halls need to match our global world, right? Like, absolutely. and whether that be in socioeconomics or whatnot, I think it's important for all Padres to have a nice blend of all people. It's wonderful, and I think that we do a great job of making sure that we keep the diversity here. Like, just no matter what, just in beliefs and socioeconomics, you name it. I mean, it's good. So.
And I mentioned parents. It's also alumni who have gone through here. It's foundations. It's when we tell the story of what Serra is all about, we're not telling that story just to a specific group. We're telling it to San Mateo County. We're telling it to foundations. We're telling it to businesses here. We're telling it to our current families, our alumni parents. So it's important to be able to tell that story in a way that, you know, they want to be a part of it. And that's the thing that's most rewarding for me is when you look at it. I mean, we have people who haven't been really involved in Serra or been here physically for a number of years, but that is such a critical piece for them that they want to be able to make that part of their philanthropic giving each and every year. And so, you know, it's a community that comes together, and that's the thing that I'm most proud of.
Excellent. And not only is it just that community you speak of, but it's also a really fun event for the community to get together, right? So it's, you know, a dinner and it's entertainment and it's just a time for everybody just to come together and you know, raise a glass for Serra, right? Your lived experience and the experience that we hope that future Padres will have.
Well, and especially after everything that's been going on, I think that, you know, we would love to be able to get together. We're going to do so safely. But, you know, we are going to get together and celebrate what this fantastic event is all about. And it's great to see people. And already I've been talking to families and people who plan to attend and how excited I am to see them, because some of them I haven't seen in quite some time. So really looking forward to March 12th. You know, we're selling fast. Tickets are selling fast. Table sponsorships are selling fast. Hope you guys can be there because it's really going to be a fantastic event, as I said. And you know, at the end of the day, we're raising money for our boys.
Excellent. Well, wonderful. Well, hopefully everyone will mark their calendars, and all of this information that we've just been discussing is on our website, serrahs.com, and there's a donation button and also a purchase, you know, a table sponsorship or a ticket button as well.
Individual tickets, table sponsorships, you know, like you said, I mean, what we do is we list it out so you see where your money goes. Certain dollars of, you know, affect what a specific student might get or specific students might get. So all the information is on the website. It's great.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Mike, so much for being here.
Thank
it's
you.
so
My
great
pleasure.
to hear more about your experiences here and just all the wonderful things you're doing. You've made a tremendous impact since you've been here. And,
well, thank you. I mean, it means a lot to me, and I love this school. And what I will say to the listeners is stay tuned, because there's a lot more things happening at Serra High School that I'll update people on in the future, but really, really exciting times here at Serra High School.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And we always end with the big Go Padres.
Go Padres.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Bye.